Imagine a massive bridge that's supposed to be Texas-sized, bold, and groundbreaking. They say everything's bigger in Texas, right? We're talking about the new Harbor Bridge in Corpus Christi, a colossal structure stretching a staggering 506 meters across the Ship Canal. This is set to be one of the most significant cable-stayed bridges in America, designed to replace the aging structure currently standing in its place. But here's the twist: if it ever gets finished. This incredible project, initially planned to be completed by 2020, is now in the midst of a race against time and numerous obstacles. Why? Well, halfway through the project, investigators hit the brakes. Why? Because they uncovered something that could be straight out of an action movie: multiple safety concerns that, if left untreated, could cause this brand new, nearly billion-dollar bridge to, you guessed it, collapse. So, what's the story here? Why is the project over budget, way past its original deadline, and on the edge of disaster? Hold on tight because we're diving deep into this billion-dollar challenge in today's video. But before we jump into the saga of the new Harbor Bridge, let's take a quick detour. We're talking fear, money, and wealth, things that not only keep you up at night but can also shape the world around you. In times of uncertainty, the wealthy elite have always found unique ways to secure their riches. Now, you might be thinking, what's this got to do with a bridge? Well, stick around, you might be surprised. Corpus Christi, Texas, it's more than just a name, it's home to one of the largest ports in the United States. This bustling city has been a critical gateway into the nation for over a century. As the world evolved, so did Corpus Christi. When the oil and gas industries boomed following World War II, this port had to level up. The solution: a brand new bridge. Enter the original Harbor Bridge, a triumph of engineering back in the day, constructed without the modern computers we take for granted. When it opened in 1959, it was colossal, rising to heights that allowed even super tankers to glide through, a significant economic boost for Texas. But as time ticked on, the old bridge started showing its age. It was like having a classic car: sure, it's charming, but it's not very practical for today's needs. The new generation of massive ships and higher safety standards demanded something different. So, the decision was made: it was time to retire the old bridge and build a new, more efficient one. Hold on, we're not going full speed just yet. You see, we're talking about billionaires here, the ultra-wealthy who have been known to dabble in the art of wealth preservation. Real estate? Maybe not as appealing anymore, with the likes of State Farm and Allstate pulling back their coverage in California. Commercial real estate? It's beginning to sound like the next Titanic in the investment world, and the effects? They could ripple all the way to real estate investors. So, what's a billionaire to do? The answer: pivot. Turn to other safe haven investments. That's where the fun begins. Collectibles and art are having their moment, from the legends like Banksy to the maestros like Picasso. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, our billion-dollar bridge. Keep your seatbelt fastened, we're just getting started. So, we've got this remarkable project in place, the new Harbor Bridge. Construction started in 2016, and it was supposed to be done by 2020. But as you've probably guessed, that's not the case. What happened, you ask? Well, imagine this: work on the bridge halted not once but twice. Why, you wonder? Hold on to your hard hat, this is where the plot thickens. The first pause happened in 2019 after a pedestrian bridge in Florida collapsed. It was a tragic incident that left several lives hanging in the balance. And the kicker? The same engineers, the FIG Bridge Group, were working on our brand new Harbor Bridge in Texas. Now, if you're wondering why a Florida bridge has anything to do with our Texan saga, here's the connection. The collapse in Florida was due to an error in the initial design, a design by the very same FIG Bridge Group, the one now overseeing our Grand Texas project. The Texas investigation, understandably, uncovered safety concerns. So, what did they do? FIG Bridge was out, and new firms were in. Construction got back on track in 2021, but not for long. The bridge was starting to take shape when, plot twist, an independent study conducted by a third-party group discovered 5 major safety concerns. Talk about suspense. One of the largest construction projects in Texas came to a screeching halt in 2022. Not only that, but the cost skyrocketed. From around $800 million, it climbed to nearly $1 billion. Now, we're talking about a billion-dollar bridge. With lives in the balance and tens of thousands of people relying on this critical infrastructure, the clock is ticking, loud and fast. But wait, you might think, hey, I'm just here to learn about bridges, not to hear about the secrets of the wealthy. Well, friend, don't underestimate the connection. Just like these billionaires searching for new safe havens for their wealth, we're looking for a safe haven for all those folks who use the bridge. It's like a real-life action thriller where the stakes are higher than a billionaire's bank balance. Let's dig deeper into these 5 safety concerns and how they're being fixed. Hold on, it's going to be quite a ride. The first issue lies in the foundation system, the heart of this colossal structure. The north and south towers of the bridge rest on giant concrete slabs that are the size of 2 basketball courts. Underneath each tower, you have these 64-meter drilled shafts, filled with concrete and steel. They're like the bridge's lifelines, transferring the weight down to solid ground. But the investigators found that, under certain conditions, like high winds, these shafts might not support the weight of the pylons. The result? The whole bridge could sink into the ground. Now, that's a plot twist. The fix? Well, they're extending the foundations and adding more drilled shafts beneath each tower. It's like adding extra layers of armor to your hero in an action movie. This way, the bridge can hold even more weight without sinking, and hopefully, without a dramatic collapse. On to issue number 2, the foundation caps. These little fellows sit on top of a group of piles, spreading the weight evenly across the elements beneath. Think of it as trying to hold all your straws close together, so you don't drop your drink. But here's the twist. The investigation found that the demand on these piles exceeded their loading capacity. Picture the straws about to bend and scatter your drink everywhere. The solution? It's time to create more space underground, like adding a stronger hand to hold all those straws in place. The piles will be driven deeper into the ground, supported by the newly added drilled shafts from our first solution. It's like an intricate plot twist, with each piece of the puzzle coming together. Now, we dive into issue number 3, the delta frame. If this were a high-stakes heist movie, the delta frame would be the critical element holding the secret formula, a bit like the mast on a ship. Building code demands non-compressed steel throughout the delta frame to strengthen it, just like having the right alloy to power your supersonic space jet. But guess what the investigation found? Our new harbor bridge design didn't have these necessary reinforcements. This weakness could lead to the structure cracking. The engineers, not to be outsmarted, are roughing up the concrete surfaces and adding rebar. It's like they've just installed the unbreakable vault door. The bridge isn't cracking anytime soon. Time for issue number 4, uplift. No, it's not a plot twist in a vampire movie. It's a problem with 2 of the piers. Uplift is when instead of the weight transferring down into the cables near the towers, it starts causing the structure to rise up. You can imagine this like a scene in a sci-fi flick where something goes terribly wrong, and a spaceship starts to float away. Now, this isn't a good situation. The bridge's current design doesn't have the right bearings to control this kind of movement. If uplift happens, it could loosen connections and cause havoc. The solution? You guessed it, more rebar. They're adding it to the last 2 segments on both ends of the bridge and making modifications to some external bearings. Think of it as reprogramming the spaceship's navigation system to keep it firmly on the ground. Now, for issue number 5. This problem was caused by the placement of cranes during the construction of the main span. The way the equipment was set up exposed it to high winds, and that's a recipe for disaster. The incomplete bridge deck could twist. Talk about a dramatic turn of events. What's the fix here? Workers are adding counterweights to balance out any potential movement caused by the weather. It's like adding ballast to a ship to keep it steady in rough waters. So, while our construction site was a little chaotic, it's now all about maintaining that balance, just like managing a fleet of high-tech spaceships. But it wouldn't be a true action-packed thriller without a sudden plot twist. In April of 2023, as if our bridge story needed more drama, one of the cranes on site caught fire. As debris rained down below, 2 workers were injured. The cause of the flames is still under investigation. It's like a fiery climax in a Hollywood blockbuster, unexpected and intense. Now, you might be thinking, is this bridge cursed? Is it destined never to be completed? Well, construction projects are high-stakes games, where any unexpected twist can alter the entire story. The race to fix the Texas Harbor Bridge is a powerful reminder of the trust we place in the construction industry. The stakes are high, the pressure is immense. But the outcome? It's a bridge that can shape millions of people's lives for the better. And that's a story worth telling. Oh, and if you're still itching for more thrilling stories, don't forget to check out our video on the huge update about NEOM. Now that's a tale of wealth and ambition on a grand scale. That's all for today's episode on the Billionaire Mindset channel. Remember, the world of construction is more than just bricks and mortar. It's filled with suspense, drama, and sometimes, jaw-dropping twists. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep your inner billionaire on the right path.